We've all seen them in the movies. We've all seen them on television. Some of us have the experience of being involved firsthand. I'm talking about police pursuits. During my 12-year law enforcement career, I've been involved in numerous pursuits. I've been blessed to not have a pursuit result in any injuries to innocent bystanders, and no serious injuries have been suffered by anyone involved in any of the pursuits that I've been involved in. The same cannot be said about all pursuits. Pursuits are a dangerous animal that must be taken with caution and care. Sad thing is, the person being pursued is the one with nothing to lose. They are the ones that are pushing their vehicle to the limits and not taking the public's welfare into concern. Over the years, there's been much public scrutiny about police pursuits and if they are actually beneficial in many cases. Today, I want to talk about the risk on law enforcement officers and their agencies to pursue, the law enforcement agency's policy to restrict pursuits, and the options available to law enforcement officers to end pursuits. There is a very high risk to law enforcement officers involved in pursuits, and the risk climbs up the ladder to that officer's supervisor, the agency head, and the government that the agency is representing. A pursuit many times puts more than just those directly involved at risk for injury. More times than not, a pursuit takes place at a high speed and with the suspect vehicle not obeying any laws of the road and having no regard for the traveling public. After all, the suspect is actively trying to run from the police. They're not taking their own safety into concern. They're not going to take the safety of others into concern. According to the website www.pursuitsafety.org, chases for nonviolent offenders kill at least 3 innocent bystanders each week in the United States. These crashes kill 1 officer every 6 weeks. From the same website, according to the FBI, 1 person is killed every day in the United States as a result of a pursuit, and 1 out of every 100 pursuits end in death. But how do we stop this and how do we control this issue? Many law enforcement agencies have adapted their policy and procedures to control and restrict their respective officers' involvement in pursuits. Many departments may allow their officers to pursue only in the event of a violent felony. Other departments may have policies and procedures that may be more lenient or more strict. Our department here that I work for allows us to chase in the event of a felony. Many states have also changed their laws. Georgia, for example, just a few years ago changed the law to where there are circumstances which are now met during a pursuit. The charge of fleeing and attempting to elude an officer is moved from a misdemeanor to a felony. For example, during a pursuit, if the fleeing vehicle reaches a speed in excess of 30 miles per hour over the posted speed limit, the pursuit, or the charge rather, of fleeing and attempting to elude an officer is then moved to a felony. When a law enforcement officer engages in a pursuit and decides to pursue a fleeing vehicle, many factors must be taken into account immediately. The officer must take into account factors regarding the violation the vehicle committed and the situation surrounding why the vehicle was being stopped in the first place. The officer must make sure that the department's policy and procedures are being met. The officer must look at the speed of the vehicle, the traffic density, the road conditions, the weather, the location that the pursuit is heading into, things of that nature. Still, after all these factors are met and they're satisfied, the officer still has options to end a pursuit once it has begun. One option is for the officer to simply call off the pursuit. This can be due to a number of circumstances, such as the location of the pursuit, the amount of traffic surrounding them, the fleeing vehicle, the speeds, things of that nature. In small town America, the officer may actually be able to identify the driver of the vehicle before the pursuit starts. If the vehicle was to flee, the officer can make the decision to end the pursuit immediately and then arrest the suspect at a later date in a more safe manner. Another option, and one of the more popular ones, is a spike strip. Now, spike strip is simply a plastic housing with a number of small metal spikes that are hollow all along the plastic housing. And this takes a lot of good communication between the law enforcement officers that are involved and a little bit of luck for successful deployment. But if the spike strip is successfully deployed in front of the pursuing vehicle, and the vehicle runs over it, the spikes release from the plastic housing and go into the tire. The hollowness of the spikes allow the air to escape from the tires. With flat tires, the fleeing suspect vehicle is forced to slow down, either coming to a stop or being able to be stopped by pursuing officers in a safe manner. Another option available to some law enforcement agencies and officers is a PIT maneuver. PIT stands for Pursuit Immobilization Technique. The idea of this is for the pursuing vehicle to go up to the fleeing vehicle and with a front end corner make contact with a rear end corner of the fleeing vehicle, causing the fleeing vehicle to spin around. My entire department is certified to use this maneuver to end a pursuit quickly and safely. I have used it numerous times to end pursuit safely, and if it's properly applied, there is very minimal damage to either the patrol car or the fleeing vehicle. Law enforcement will forever be involved in the fight against evil. Police pursuits are part of that evil, and it is the responsibility of law enforcement officers and their departments to stay ahead of the curve in training and in tactics to safely end pursuits in a quick manner. I am not a fan of pursuits, and I do not like to be involved in pursuits. I agree with the department's regulations of its officers' involvement in pursuits, but I would like to see departments, law enforcement officers, their representing governments, along with citizens themselves, to band together and force state legislatures to push new, tougher laws against fleeing and eluding police to try to put a stop to this before they ever begin. Thank you.